Welcome, everybody. We are live here in Warfield, Kentucky. JJ Pruitt to my left. I'm Darryl McCoy. And to my right, we got Bradley Dameron from the mean streets of Marbone Creek, West Virginia. Good morning, Bradley.
Good morning, guys. How's it over in Warfield today?
Be honest, I've not been outside today, but it's, come straight down to the studio. So, it's been a memorable moment, or it's been an eventful morning, to say the least. As we've tried to put the studio back together. As for you folks that don't know, the reason we wasn't on yesterday is because the water lines in the studio busted again. And Bradley, as soon as we went off the other day, not even 10 seconds after we went off air, if I really wish we would have still been on air and people would have got to see it. But 10 seconds, like the second that it went off, all of a sudden water just started spewing all over us. And, I had to slam Bradley shut, slam the laptop shut. And, we was moving equipment, trying to do everything to save what we could. And
almost drowned. I mean,
Yeah, JJ, we had put a life jacket on JJ over here. And,
What's funny for the people who don't know, whenever we end the show, we sometimes talk for a few minutes to plan our day out and stuff with D&D. We're still here even though we're not live on the air. So we're just talking, and then suddenly I just see like stuff, and both of you guys scatter, and JJ's running upstairs and probably get his life jacket on too. We got to make sure he doesn't drown.
JJ is leaving me out here at the hang. He was going upstairs to save himself.
I mean, as many times as you throw me under the bus, I mean,
JJ was Jack and you were Rose in this situation. Or JJ was Rose, you were Jack, Darryl.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
It was literally like, grab my good hand.
Then they said, and then this morning, we're running a few minutes late because I was sitting here, it got about, about 7 o'clock, and I was worried. I was like, "Where's JJ at?" And he's like, "I'm running late." He says, "I'm away here." He said, and then he said, "I got about 4 or 5 miles down the road, and I left my dang windbreaker." So here he is with his windbreaker he got from, what'd they say, Mud Creek?
I got it from Aeropostale on sale.
No, you got that from the Bull Creek. For the Bull Creek flea market up there.
Yeah, according to Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's no wind in the studio, JJ. I've been there.
Yeah, but there's wind outside. It's very windy.
I tell you what, the people don't believe it until the other day, till we was, I forgot where we was at, and they was like, "Does he really have coupons?" And JJ pulled a coupon out of his pocket. I said, "I told you."
I got them in the car. You never know. Got some Tudor's Biscuit World coupons I'm going to use later.
Janice Roden says, "Good morning from Ohio, guys. Today is September 4th. It's a new month as we start this new month. September 4th, JJ. A lot of eventful things happened today, so I'm going to let you get started with that."
So the year was 1781. On this day in 1781, Spanish settlers laid claim to what became known as Los Angeles, now the second most populous city and the home to Hollywood, whose name is synonymous with the American motion picture industry.
Yep.
So Los Angeles was founded in 1781.
The City of Angels.
Yes. Now we got another one. The year was 1893. English author Beatrice Potter first writes the story of Peter Rabbit for a 5-year-old boy.
Peter Rabbit, a classic.
Absolutely. Definitely a classic. And then we've got the year of 1972. A revival of The Price is Right began airing with Bob Barker as the host. It was a huge hit, becoming one of the longest running game shows on American television. Yeah. One of my all-time favorite shows to watch when I wasn't in school.
I love The Price is Right. I still today, I watch it today on the Game Show Network.
Who's the host now?
No, I watch the old clips.
Oh, the original.
I don't like the new one.
Yeah, I'm old school too.
Bob Barker was perfect for that show too. I mean, he just had that nice little smarmy game show host, persona, and also was great in Happy Gilmore. But
Yeah, he was the price is wrong.
He was.
He said, I think you've had enough. Okay, so we got the year was 1998. Now this is another really good one. The American search engine company Google was formally established as founders Sergey Brin and Larry Page filed the incorporation papers.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So Google, which is one of the most notable, you've hit struck gold when you create a phrase or a word, and nowadays, that's where I really think Elon Musk screwed up with Twitter, because forever people are going to say I tweeted so and so or I tweeted this, and I mean that right there, that takes something special to be able to do that. And Google did the same thing. Go Google it. So hats off to these guys for seeing the future.
Absolutely.
And see all you young people out there, we couldn't just always go Google it.
No.
But there were search engines before Google, but Google's been the one that's taken over. They've done a great job with that whole marketing and stuff.
Oh yeah, at the end of the day, back in my day, the old search engine was go to the library to the what's the name of the thing? I'm having a brain fart here.
The decimal system.
Yeah, no, not the Dewey Decimal System. The where you go see what books is in the library, the card.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where you pull the drawers out and you have to go through each
I know
cards. Somebody tell us. I know. I mean, I'm just having a brain fart here.
Well, I mean, it was like 30 years ago. So, I mean.
I mean, if you went to the library, it'd tell you had to find books, and you just pull them drawers out and you had to look, and I cannot think of the name of it, and it's killing me. Somebody please tell me. No, it's not the Dewey Decimal System.
That's exactly what it is, Darryl.
No, it ain't. It's not the Dewey Decimal System.
Somebody in the comments section, please let us know.
Yes, because it is killing me. But JJ, you go on.
The year was 2002, when American singer Kelly Clarkson became the first winner of the reality television series American Idol.
There we go.
Yeah.
So Kelly Clarkson, first American Idol.
That was a very innovative show. I mean, I don't know if it's still on television, but just people being able to watch ordinary people, try to get a record deal and then feel like they're a part of it whenever they're calling in and they're voting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, even to this day, it's a good formula for television.
And I'm trying to think, who is the most notable American Idol winner?
Probably Kelly Clarkson, honestly.
Jesus, who would be the most notable?
Carrie Underwood, maybe.
Probably Carrie Underwood, maybe.
I think that would definitely Carrie Underwood and Kelly Clarkson. I think that's your answers, and then you had what's the bald-headed guy's name? Sun Country,
Chris Daughtry.
Yeah, Chris Daughtry, and then you had Clay Aiken. Then you had Ruben Studdard.
Yeah, Ruben Studdard won that one. I remember that one. That's actually the only one that I remember.
Yeah, Ruben Studdard. He came out with one big hit, but
yeah,
most of them have had maybe like one hit or never really much of anything. But a few, and I think that one, that Fantasia Barrino, I think she's been a big hit on like Broadway and stuff.
One of them won an Oscar. It might have been Fantasia. I think there was somebody that either competed on American Idol or actually won it, went on to have like a really good acting career, and actually ended up winning an Oscar, I think. It
might have been Fantasia, because Fantasia, her big thing was she made it really huge in like the whole Broadway musical type world. That was where she ended up finding her footing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of her name. I'll have to look it up, but yeah, she was definitely one of the bigger winners. And then I got one last one for you, Darryl. The year was 2006, and this one was, a very sad moment in my childhood. American wildlife conservationist and television personality Steve Irwin, who achieved a worldwide fame as the crocodile hunter was actually killed by a stingray on this day.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That well, I remember that day whenever it happened. Very sad story. You know I've seen some interviews with his kids, and tough situation there. And Steve Irwin's somebody I think we all loved as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Oh
mean,
God, yeah.
if you've ever seen his son, like his son looks just like him. He speaks the exact same way. I mean, it's
Well, and this right here is Bradley. I owe you apology. The Dewey Decibel says a card catalog is what.
That's what I was saying.
There you go. As we're sitting here looking, I got a few this days in history, and we'll see whose is the most interesting. JJ's or mine today.
Well, let's see what you got.
Let's see here. All right. Let me bring up in NFL record 1994. Miami quarterback Dan Marino throws 5 touchdown passes in Dolphins 39-35 win over New England. Sets NFL record with his 18th game of 4 or more touchdowns. So Dusty Dan Marino ended up getting a big record on this day in history. And then I'm going to move over to in 1993, Jim Abbott throws a no-hitter to no-hit the Cleveland Indians 4-0, and Jim Abbott, most notable as being the one-armed pitcher as he threw for the New York Yankees. You can see right there how he done it. He would wear the glove, and then as soon as the second that he would get the ball out of his hands, he'd switch the glove over to his other hand so he could field the ball. And Jim Abbott, very, he's living proof. Where there's a will, there's a way, guys.
Absolutely.
And very solid pitcher throughout his career, too.
Yeah.
Solid major league pitcher. And, he was a pretty high draft pick. I remember that was the whole big deal whenever he was drafted.
Yeah. He had big. Go ahead, Bradley.
No, there were some teams worried because because he only had one hand.
Yep.
And they didn't know how to be able to field, but he fielded pretty well.
Yeah, he really good. He had long stints with the Yankees and the Angels. So Jim Abbott throws the no-hitter. And then this day in history, one of the biggest radio shows ever was created. And this day in history, it ended up taking guys, shaped my childhood in a great way and helped give me a love for radio personalities. And Howard Stern show was created this day in history.
Oh wow!
So I spent a lot of time in my childhood watching Howard Stern.
Yeah, he's a very.
I learned a lot about life through Howard Stern, Bradley.
A lot of stuff you probably weren't ready to learn at the time, but you did. Yes,
that's it. I probably shouldn't have been watching it, but I go back to the old. You had Beetlejuice on there. You had Gary, Stutter and Steve. Fa Fooey, Robin Withers. Robin. I can't remember her last name. Quivers. Robin Quivers. A lot of big personalities on that. A lot of people got their start off Howard Stern. And for you guys, it was kind of an X-rated show. And it came around the same time that cable come around here in the mountains. When, we got modern cable, when you had more than 10 channels, come Howard Stern show come then. And it was famously on a TV station called E-Television. Some people, I think, I think they still might be kicking, but E-Television, that's what ran from, like 12, to like 2 a.m. The Howard Stern show would be on there live. And let's just say a lot of teenage boys got broke in on that show.
I'll just say this. My mother hated Howard Stern. He hated
Do you remember when that serial killer called in on his show? Did you ever hear about that?
I think so.
Yeah, like a legit serial killer called in on the air, and he did everything he could to try to keep him on there. He tried to ask he tried to word his questions the perfect way to keep him on there. That way the cops could get as much information as they possibly could. But it was a very disturbing call. It was like a 10-minute conversation.
I highly suggest anybody take and watch the Howard Stern movie. It's a really good movie, and if you like radio, you like radio personalities, then it's the way to go. Jeremy Pitson says, "When it was good."
Oh yeah,
the good old days.
Speaking of Punk's Tire,
by the way, JJ, can you please take your jacket off so we can give our sponsors some love?
It's cold in here, man. Give them a little bit of love. This segment is brought to you by Punk's Tire, the hands down Jeremy Pitson, the best tire man in the business.
You wouldn't think he's proud of Punk's Tires, would you, Bradley? Trying to hide it with the windbreaker.
I'll tell you, somebody that needs a shirt, that brother right there, Bradley Dameron, he said he wanted to get a t-shirt. So, Jeremy, if you still got us on there, my main man Bradley's ready for his Punk's Tire t-shirt.
He said he's getting a hat and a shirt soon. Jeremy said
right.
he would make
I'll be all set up. Look at that. I'll be branded.
Here we go.
Completely Punk's Tires branded. And JJ, you gotta take off the shirt. You gotta show the guns, man.
Man, I've been working out a little bit. Actually, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to show them just yet, but
got to give us the tickets to the gun show.
In due time, this
is peanut shooters.
Yeah, this is Toys R Us right now.
September 4th birthdays, JJ.
Oh, we got a couple of September 4th birthdays. So the first birthday we're going to go with is John McCarthy. Now, what's interesting about this individual is, we were talking about AI earlier. He is actually one of the founders of artificial intelligence.
Bradley's the cat daddy.
Oh, yeah.
Man, this is my co-host, Stormy. She just doesn't understand that this is not the best time to be crawling all over my face and stuff.
All right. No.
We want to give a shout out to Damon Wayans.
Yeah.
Wish him a happy birthday. Best known for In Living Color, that TV show. We want to give a shout out to Beyonce.
Yeah.
Beyonce's birthday.
You know who else got their start on In Living Color?
Jim Carrey.
Who else?
Jamie Foxx.
Who else?
Let's see.
Famous woman, actress, and singer.
Jesus, what is her name? I can't remember.
Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah,
as a fly girl.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And we got one last birthday. This individual is one of my biggest childhood memories, Jason David Frank. And for those that aren't familiar with him, he was known as one of the original Green Ranger and White Ranger on the Power Rangers episodes.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
The happy birthday to the Power Rangers.
And he was a legit MMA fighter too. I think he fought 4 times and actually went 4-0.
Let's see let's go to the Facebook and let's see if we got any. Easton Davis, Tug Valley's own Easton Davis. Happy birthday, Easton. He's a coach and former player. Paul Howard.
Video too. You remember that hype video?
Yeah. Yeah, he's the one that created that. Yes.
He did a heck of a job on that video.
And then Paul Howard, who brought a lot of memories to us in our childhoods at the old Borderline and Rumors.
Oh, the OG Paul Howard. Okay.
Yeah, not junior. It's his senior.
Original.
So happy birthday, Paul Howard.
Absolutely.
And let's see if we got anybody else notable. Ethan Fields from Phelps. Happy birthday, Ethan. And then Ryan Ray, former Belfry Pirate. So happy birthday to them fine folks on September 4th. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll get started with the show. 9:15, we'll have Jenkins, AD, Ethan Cummings joining us. So make sure you guys stick around for that. But we'll be right back after a quick break. Award-winning tire shop that focuses on customer service that's family-owned and family-operated. Stop by and see our friends Jeremy and Chasta at Punk's Tires. If you have a hectic work schedule and you're looking for a non-stressful, convenient way to buy tires, take advantage of Punk's Tires Appointment Saturdays. If they don't have the tire you're looking for, they guarantee it to have it the next day. Punk's Tires can take care of all your needs in tires, wheels, wheel alignments, brakes, rotors, minor mechanic work, and more. They'll treat you like family from the second you walk through the door. Come see us in Virgie, Kentucky, or give us a call at 606-639-TIRE. That's 606-639-TIRE.
In America, what does that mean? It means jobs. It means craftsmanship. And when it comes to Vaughan Bassett furniture, it means value. And Kemper recognizes that. That's why they've dedicated an entire gallery to Vaughan Bassett. Made in America. See the quality. And now, see the price. Come see your favorite Kemper store in Hazard, London, or Somerset.
And we are back here on the Startup Morning Show here on the D&D Sports Network. JJ Pruitt, Bradley Dameron, and Darryl McCoy. Guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Jeremy Pinson says September 4th was a special day for special people. Paul Howard and Howard Stern on the same day. It don't get any better.
Two biggest Howards I know.
I would say they're two of a kind. So as you take and don't forget, guys, there's a new steakhouse coming to Williamson, West Virginia, courtesy of Paul Howard, going to be stationed in the old borderline. So a little nostalgia there for some people that grew up in the 90s, 80s, 90s.
Well, as long as he plays the
early
the right
2000s.
Music. If I walk in there and I don't hear Return of the Mac or
they pour some sugar on me.
There you go.
And,
I don't even want to.
And I think opening day, you feel it full of foam.
There you go.
Yeah.
Have a couple of people dancing on top. Oh, never mind. That's too much. Yeah, my bad. I had a flashback.
Can't go that far, JJ.
Sorry.
So, guys, want to take first thing want to talk about is JJ brought to my attention Florida is banning books, Bradley, some greats. What is wrong with Florida, JJ? Tell us about Florida banning some Stephen King's and some other notable books.
So in 2022, the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, signed a landmark legislation that targeted books which included any sexually explicit material following complaints from conservative group Moms for Liberty. Now, to me, this is ridiculous because some of the books that, he banned was The Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
And then The Diary of Anne Frank. Has also been banned. So, I can't comprehend that. These were two very important books from my childhood. They taught me a lot about history. They taught me a lot about the way that, things were during, the slavery times with the Mark Twain book. And they also taught me a lot about what went on during World War II. If you want history not to repeat itself, you have to educate people on what happened. Because if these things do repeat themselves and people aren't aware of what happened in the past, you can't get mad if you're trying to.
If history repeats itself.
Yeah, you can't get mad if you're trying to hide it from everybody.
Yep. So
I'll just say this. I have to say something about that, man. It's just kind of funny how some people say they're all about liberty, but they're the first one to censor things. So that I think censorship in any kind like that is horrible, and I think it's terrible. And, people should be able to choose what they want to read and what they don't want to read.
And there are certain books that you should definitely learn about in school. And that's The Diary of Anne Frank. Because there's still a lot of people out there that have these conspiracy theories that never even happened.
Yep. I agree 100%. And, speaking of something in history that we forgot about today, this day in history, definitely want to note it. This is the day in a Little Rock crisis when the governor of Arkansas calls out the National Guard to prevent students of color from entering Little Rock Central High School. It's one of the biggest days in history.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't want to accept that these moments in time happen. They want to tell people, get over it, just let it go, we're moving forward. But the reality of it is, in order to truly move forward, you got to know where you came from.
Well, I understand it to a point. But here's the thing that I don't like is when people throws it up in people's faces. At the end of the day, you see people all the time. Bringing up bashing people, over slavery and stuff. At the end of the day, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, or their great-grandparents and their great-grandparents never owned slaves, so It's something that I think, you got to be very careful, because if you push it too much, it's going to send you back the other direction. People's going to resent it.
Yeah, but you also got at the same time have to you can't erase it,
No,
Don't
you don't erase it.
Don't push it, but don't erase it.
That's it. That's the way I see it.
The thing is, the thing you just mentioned happened in 1957. There are still people very much alive and well who can remember that. And I don't mean who were just alive, but like that's 67 years ago. So someone say is like 77, they remember being a child.
Yeah. When all that was going on.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. So very tough moment in history there. And guys, a odd story coming out. Ugandan Olympian set on fire by her boyfriend after running at the Paris Games. JJ, tell us a little more about the story.
So just weeks after competing in the 2024 Olympics, she ended up getting treated for severe burns covering 75% of her body.
Yeah.
That is awful. I mean, according to a police filing by the local chief, I don't want to butcher this name, Demia and Chapiti, or I don't even.
Yeah.
Anyways, they had a dispute over land for a house, and that dispute ended up leading to that happening, and that's awful. 75% of your body. I mean, you can imagine how long it's going to take for her to recover, if she's even able to.
Especially after just being able at the height of your life and being able to compete in the Olympics and then come home and something like that happen. Very tough situation.
Yeah, they set her on fire after dousing her with a gallon of petrol.
Man.
Yeah, that was God bless her.
Yes, absolutely. Very tough situation there. But guys, let's get to a lighter moment here, as want to give a big shout out. Breaking news happening yesterday. Peyton Davis tells D&D Sports Network he will be joining Martin County football program. This comes after a couple weeks. We've been hearing rumors that he may be up there practicing, and then he come out on Sunday with Parker Watts, both of them returning to the football gridiron, and I think both of them could really help the Cardinals in a big way.
Absolutely. I mean, this kid is very physical and always intense anyway. So I feel sorry for the people that, he has to go against coming basketball season if he's going to be playing football. I mean, he's just going to be even more intense after this season.
I think you'll see him play some safety, some DB, a backup QB maybe.
You think he's got quarterback skills too?
Yeah. Yeah. In middle school, that's kind of what he played a lot of quarterback. And,
oh, wow.
So
I really like seeing our athletes play different sports when possible. I think that's always a good thing, and who knows, maybe they're focusing on one sport, but maybe someone looks at them in another. Although those two are being looked at pretty well in basketball as is. So but but sometimes you never know, man.
I agree 100%. Listen, at the end of the day, normally I wouldn't myself, I wouldn't allow my son to play football. I let him try in 7th grade, and he actually went to Belfry and played for Phelps. And when David was there, he went out with David and ended up playing in the Phelps youth league, and had a solid season as a tight end. And then, after that, he started getting better at basketball, and I told him enough of this football nonsense. So, that's where, but Peyton's built for football. If you know Peyton, his mentality, his toughness, he's a football player. He's a kid that would definitely thrive on the gridiron. So as we move on, guys, some other news. Got Sadie Johnson. We've had Sadie on the show before. Picks up her first offer from Clifton Williams and the UPOC Bears.
Oh, wow.
So big shout out to Sadie, guys. Sadie is known, as you can see, she's already as tall as Coach Williams. She is known as one of the top bigs in the 15th region.
and just a sophomore this year, Darryl. So
just a sophomore, big big day for Sadie. I dare to say there's going to be many more coming Sadie's way before she graduates, Bradley.
Yeah, UPAC's not the first, but UPAC's the first, but they're not going to be the last. Is what I was trying to say.
No, yeah, I can promise you that.
There's going to be quite a few knocking on her door.
So, big shout out. Final Four, and this breaks my heart. Darren Peterson nails his Final Four down to Kansas State, USC, Kansas, and Ohio State. Now, as you know, I mean, we're pretty close to DP here at the at D&D Sports, and this will go down as I think one of the biggest muffs in UK history, and it happens right when there's a coaching change. If Calipari was still at Kentucky, I think he would be in Lexington. But Darren Peterson, number one point guard in his class. I think that at the end of the day, this kid is a game changer. That he's going to have a big NBA career. Barring he stays healthy throughout college. But whenever you sit there and look, this is the writing on the wall. And I really think USC is going to be where he lands now, by him going to prolific prep and leaving Huntington and going to prolific prep. I think that pretty much sealed the deal. And then when you heard Coach Arkell on the show say NIL was a real thing, I think that tells you, what drew him to USC. But I really think USC will be. Kansas has got a lot of NIL money too. But one thing that I don't think he spent a lot of time in Kansas and realizes how boring Kansas is. Maybe the most boring state, as two of his favorites are Kansas and Kansas State.
Maybe he likes it quiet, Darryl. I don't know.
Now, he, and I still think Ohio State has a shot. He visited Ohio State this weekend, went to Ohio State football game on an official visit. And, Ohio State, that's where he's from. There's a lot of pressure. And I know Ohio State, they're pretty much set to throw all their NIL dollars in on Darren Peterson. So, tough situation. It sucks that UK's missing out on them, but when things are all said and done, I'll be able to tell some stories about about the situation and how the UK thing did not happen. I was rich out, and I played a big part in trying to make it happen. But, the new coaching staff, I think come just at the right time or at the wrong time. And I think that kind of sealed his deal not going to Lexington.
Well, I tell you, one thing looking at there, you mentioned Ohio State a moment ago. In the world of NIL and all this, Ohio State is going to rack up. And they're going to do that in a lot of sports, not just football. I've heard a lot of stories that Ohio State's one of the bigger spenders out there across all sports. So I think we're going to see some sports at Ohio State that maybe were not as prominent as football start to rise up to that level within the next few years.
Yeah, Ohio State, they had a couple of years back in the mid-2000s with Greg Oden and them where they was, decent, and they had D'Angelo, or was it Russell?
D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, D'Angelo Russell.
Greg Oden.
Native.
Evan Turner, I think he played at Ohio State too.
Them years was pretty good in basketball with Thad Matta as the head coach, but, Ohio State's been down in recent history.
They have. I think they're coming back.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see that. So, guys, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go blind draw on our topics, and I'll tell you more about that as soon as we come back. Guys, want to thank our sponsors of this segment, Punts Tires. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back here on the Startup Morning Show.
Bruce Walters Kia. By now, you know Kia is a great vehicle, and you know they come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So why should you buy from Bruce Walters Kia? At Bruce Walters Kia, we're going to change your oil for free for life. And what you do with that money you save is up to you. Come check out the 2022 Kia Carnival and the 2021 Kia Sorento. Only at Bruce Walters Kia in Pikeville. Or shop us online at brucewalterskia.com.
Ready to rev your engines and hit the trails on October 10th through the 13th at the 23rd National Trail Fest in Gilbert, West Virginia. With miles of award-winning trails, sanctioned drag racing, live music, and thrilling poker runs, there's nonstop excitement for everyone. Indulge in mouth-watering food and discover unique finds from our vendors. Located in scenic southern West Virginia, it's the perfect escape from it all.
Let's see.
And we are back here on the Startup Morning Show. JJ Pruitt, Darryl McCoy here as we got Bradley Dameron from Kermit, West Virginia. Bradley is our chief sports writer at D&D Sports.com. Bradley, as things are starting to heat up, it's big week. It's football time in the Bluegrass. And, you know, I'm excited for this coming week. And Thursday night, you know, we don't want to go into a ton of our football topics because we preview on Thursday night the premiere, season 4 premiere of the #1 football show in the mountains, Crunch Time. Will kick off at 9 p.m. on Thursday night. So you guys that's been waiting for that, make sure you tune in. Definitely a show I've probably been asked 1,000,000 times over the last 3 weeks. Are we going to have it? When's it start? And so Thursday night it will be live and well, Bradley.
It'll be fun to have that back, and I'm sure you're raring to get going. I'm sure Coach Jones is raring to get it going, and it'll be a great show.
I'll be honest with you, JJ. People don't realize that show is a week in the making. Like that show, that's probably one of the hardest working. I work harder on that show than probably any show that we do. And, you know, this show here, people don't realize, you know, at nighttime, you know, it's 2.5 hours getting prepped to make sure you got the topics written down, what you're going to go through on the day, doing all that stuff. But the show, whenever it comes to crunch time, I mean, it's a week-long process, you know, because you start as soon as the games are over on Friday. You got to start, you know, getting scoreboards out, primetime players of the week. You got to get all that stuff over to the graphics team. Then you got to start on Monday and get people to vote on the top 10 coaches or the top 10 rankings. So it will be released tomorrow night, the top 10 teams in the mountains. And then trying to think, there's like 6 or 7 graphics that we have to coordinate with hundreds of people, you know, to get done. And, you know, so people don't realize how hard, you know, it is. They think you just pop up on air and you talk about this stuff. But they don't realize the work that goes in behind the scenes, Bradley.
No, and I know that's one of the things that, like, I think a lot of people think that we just wing everything all the time, you know, but no, there is preparation. And I know like those that week whenever JJ and I were handling this show, you know, we were working every night to get things ready for the next day.
Yeah, it was definitely a struggle at times.
And I just, you know, just got told, actually, Parker Watts just messaged me. He said, make sure he was telling me that they just didn't decide just to play this week. You know, they've been going out and practicing for the last 2 weeks. So I'm not sure that they'll play this week. I think it'll be the following week when you'll actually see Davis and Watts on the gridiron. So
that's going to be fun to watch. I mean, on the defensive
it's going to be
side,
explosive. If you've never seen Parker Watts play football, you're in for a treat.
I mean, if he's anything like he is on the basketball court, he's going to be a problem.
Bradley, he might be a more dynamic football player than he is a basketball player.
I mean, nobody's going to be able to, jump with him whenever they throw the ball in the air.
I saw Parker pull down some catches that I don't know if there are many, if any other kids in our area make last year.
No, he is literally, he's a Randy Moss type receiver.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see what the speed's like on the gridiron. I mean,
his speed's there too.
Yeah.
Parker Watts just a true athlete. He can do anything. In Martin County now, you add Devin Maynard and you got Braden Eastep. You got Julian Stafford. Who just had a marvelous game this past week. It's going to be definitely Martin County will be one of the teams that you're going to be getting more highlights out of.
They'll be kind of like, you remember back in the day, the Philadelphia Eagles team that had Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson?
Yeah.
It could be like them.
Well, you probably, you could, trying to think of some, maybe more of the Los Angeles Rams with
back in '99.
with
the greatest show on turf.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey Parker, what's your 40 time if you're watching this? I'd love to know what his 40 time is.
I would say Parker hasn't timed this 40 where he didn't play.
I'd say he's
regular season.
I'd say he's a legit at least 4 or 5 minimum.
I don't know, 4 or 5. That's quick.
I'd say he's got it. I mean,
I don't know. He could probably get there. I don't know if that's what he would be right now, where he's not played football and not used to running that. I don't know if he could run one, but he would be. I would guarantee it 4.6 anyways.
Yeah, 4.6, 4.5. I mean,
I'm just going to say this. I've been around some Division I wide receivers who didn't run 4.5.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. At 4 or 5, that's quick. But guys, UPOC is inviting people to come out to open practice. High school, middle school youth, and AAU coaches. They would love to have you out at their open practice at the historic Wayland Gym, home of the Mountain Sports Hall of Fame. Upstairs they got the Hall of Fame, as you can see around the top there. Where you can learn the history of mountain athletics. And then down below, you got the court that King Kelly played on. And JJ, I know you probably have no clue who King Kelly is.
I was just about to ask you, who's King Kelly?
King Kelly Coleman is the greatest. Yeah, that's a sin not to know who King Kelly is in the mountains.
I had the honor and privilege of interviewing and doing a feature story on King Kelly Coleman years ago. JJ, you need to research this man, seriously.
I would definitely do my homework.
I don't know who that is, and I grew up in West Virginia, and I knew who King Kelly Coleman was. He's
King Kelly Coleman is the greatest considered the greatest mountain basketball player of all time. He was the all-time leading scorer in Kentucky. King Kelly ended up taking and holding the record for scoring. People thought it would never be touched, and then Travis Perry broke it last year. And King Kelly is the true definition. Whenever you talk about the GOAT, there's no question in Kentucky who the all-time GOAT is.
Where did he play his ball?
At Wayland High School. And right there in Floyd County, right on the Knott County line. So, but really neat situation. Ty Compton taking the Bears down there and having an open practice in that. They put breakaway rims in the gym. Great experience for the kids that's at college and for the kids that's going to go watch the Bears. I think it will help rally some fans around the Bears program.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I give a really quick King Kelly Coleman story?
Go ahead.
When I was speaking to him, and this would have been around, 2003, 2004-ish, somewhere in that area, right?
Yeah.
When I was speaking to King Kelly Coleman, we were talking. He played in there used to be a West Virginia, Kentucky all-star game at the Williamson Fieldhouse back in the day. And he played in that game. And we were talking about some of the players, and I mentioned, and Jerry West played in that game as well. I'm going to tell you, he got riled up for a moment because he misunderstood where I was going with it for a second. He thought I was trying to say something like Jerry West was better, and I was not. And he's like, if you're trying to say that man was better than I was, he was not better than I was. I was just as good as he was. And in fact, I was better.
Well, King Kelly was definitely proud, and even down to his latter days, he was a guy. I didn't get to know him in his healthy state, but I got to know him in his elderly state, and just a great guy that still really cared about the mountains, but did not know there was beef between King Kelly and a Zeke from Cabin Creek.
It was just kind of funny because, I looked at that game. There was a lot of talent in that game. And, and I think maybe some people have brought up Jerry West because they both played that game over the years a few times.
Yeah.
But as soon as I brought that name up, I could just hear that switch for a second. But he wasn't going to take any
Yeah, he wasn't taking any nonsense. He knows who the GOAT is, and at the end of the day, King Kelly, he was setting national records, back in them days, and King, I 100% agree with him. I think King Kelly, I know Jerry West, is goes down as the logo, but King Kelly just as good. And a lot of people would argue was better.
Yeah, it was just kind of funny the way he did that. I remember that. I'm like, whoa.
You got a flashback.
Yeah, that's. And then Jeremy Pinson says he's still tuning in as we got Carl Whitey Little says, I think you have to have so many practices before you can play in a game. That's true, Whitey. I'm pretty sure it's 10 practices that you got to have. And, I think a lot of coaches sometimes will fudge that and, create extra film studies and stuff like that, to get players eligible a little bit quicker. Bradley, I've seen them, in the past do that, being like, well, let's add a film study tonight, and that's going to count as a practice. Well, they had 5 practices, 5 film studies, 1 week. Let's play.
They do that?
Of course, none of our fine coaches in the mountains.
No, not our coaches here in the mountains.
They're the most vulnerable.
Everything have been 100% on board from the beginning of time.
100%. The JJ, did you ever play football?
In elementary school, I attempted to play, but I never got on the field.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I was too small.
Too small. Okay. Yeah. I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, I got the speed to play, but I'm brittle.
So you never could make for Yogi Kinder.
So I never even tried. Yeah, I didn't want that smoke.
Yogi would have been he would have made sure though that you were toughened by the end of it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, guys, blind draw. For you guys that don't know what that is whenever I'm sitting here, a lot of people don't understand. Whenever I look down at on my side, when I got the topics, I got little thumbnails, but they're little thumbnails, so I can't really tell what they are. So they're going to be topics in today's show, but we're going to pop them up and we're going to talk to them as we do. So JJ, you'll have the lowdown on these topics, so make sure you get ready. Here we go. Let's see what the first topic is.
See what you got for me. Former
aide to New York governors charged with acting as an agent of the Chinese government.
Now that one is pretty crazy. I sent that one to you last night. So a former aide to New York Governor Kathy Hochul and former Governor Andrew Cuomo was charged with acting as an agent for the Chinese government, U.S. Attorney Breon Peace announced on Tuesday. Linda Sun, a former deputy chief of staff to Hakchul and Kumo A was charged with, I know I butchered that name just now, charged with violating and conspiring to violate Foreign Agents Registrations Act, visa fraud, alien smuggling, and money laundering conspiracy, according to an unsealed copy of the indictment.
Tough situation. And, the other thing that I read on this is that the aid was blocking the Taiwan government from being able to get a hold of the New York governor, to help with stuff that they, wanted, agendas that they wanted pushed. So she was helping Chinese and blocking other governments from getting a hold of the governor. So, this lady right here doing some dirty deeds. But, what my question is, this is, she's very lucky, Bradley, that she didn't, end up taking a case of espionage.
Oh man, I mean, there's definitely some things that she could be charged with. I mean, espionage, treason.
Oh, it gets better actually. It says Sun acted as an undisclosed agent of the Chinese government while her husband facilitated the transfer of millions of dollars in kickbacks for personal gain.
Yeah, I mean, kind of goes situation. I always said, back in my addiction days, people ask me, there's like, you should have went to college to be a pharmacist. And I was like, nah, I was like, I'd go to 4 years of college to give up 20 years of my life, because I know bad things would have happened with me as a pharmacist. So, but this lady right here, they made a lot of money in that time. Now the interesting thing is her sentencing going to be worth it. I've always wondered if you knew you was going, say, $15 million, you was going to embezzle $15 million, JJ.
Okay.
But you knew there was a chance that you was going to get caught and you was going to spend up to 4 years of your life. Would you take that chance over $15 million?
I got to choose my words wisely. I mean, and all I got to do 4 years.
Honest answer: $15 million, embezzle $15 million, but there's a chance that you're going to have to spend $14 million.
Well, if you're going to try to embezzle
4 years,
if you're going to try to do any kind of embezzlement, I mean, you don't want to do a number that's so high that, if you do a smaller number, you got a less chance of getting caught. I mean, I wouldn't take that chance. No.
See, I say it the opposite way. If you're going to do it big. That way you got that cushion when you get out of prison.
I guess it depends on how well you can hide it,
and you don't want to be the guy going, you don't want to be Richie Farmer giving up 4 years of your life for stealing a VCR from the, treasurer's office in Kentucky. I mean,
would you get less time? I mean, I guess if the amount of time is going to be the exact same, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's kind of, my process. Go big or go home.
Yeah, but even 4 years in prison, I mean, being able to survive 4 years.
Okay, 2 years.
What kind of prison are we talking about here?
Are we talking? Yeah,
we talking about Rikers, or are we talking about the country clubs that they?
Yeah, we're talking about a blue collar prison,
like Rikers,
or a white collar prison. No, not Rikers. We're talking, country clubs.
Oh, you talk where they got pool tables and you can just get up and leave? Yeah, I mean,
but 2 years. Okay, 2 years of your life.
2 years in a prison like that, yeah. If it's, $15
million, 2 years.
Yeah, for one of those white collar prisons where you can get.
I like to say that, and used to it would be a no brainer until I got my family, and now that I don't know that any amount of money is worth extended time away from my family, because you only get one life to live.
Well, it depends on if you're able to stash that money. If you're able to successfully stash some of that money away, I think that you would do it for the security for your family.
Now, if I knew that I could take and hide this, my family would be set, and I might would.
Yeah, I think anybody would.
Let us know in the comment section. Would you folks at home trade that?
Because they're going to come visit. They're going to be able to visit you anyways if it's one of the white collar prisons.
Yeah. Well, one thing I can say, if I bite that bullet for my family, they better be putting money on my books every month. I better have a lot of ramen noodles.
You probably get better than ramen noodles in one of those prisons.
But yeah, I don't know, JJ. I've spent a lot of time in jail, and jail food ain't good.
But you said white collar. Now we're talking like the prison where you can get up and leave anytime you want. It's got pool tables, good quality television. That food's great. You could probably, in any jail you can order, Snickers, chips, pops, stuff like that. But if you don't have money, then you're drinking. They call it Kool-Aid, but it's what it is. It's water with sugar in it. Like literally, that's what they do. They give you a glass of water with sugar in it, and there's no taste, no nothing. It's just sugar water. And then you end up getting bologna. It's got green mold on it, and like it the worst food you could ever think. But credit the fine folks at Pike County Jail. Every Sunday, if you're good, they would try to bring in pizzas and stuff. So, great situation there. But guys, as we are earing close, we'll do one more of these. One more blind draw.
Well, one more blind draw, and then we'll take a quick break, and then we'll try to have Ethan coming on. But let's see what topic we got here. South Carolina basketball star Ashlyn Watkins is charged with assault and kidnapping. As JJ, you did not send me that one.
Yeah, I didn't say. I was about to say, well, wait a minute now. You gotta. This is one.
She was part of that undefeated championship team last year, and she's still part of the team. She was the first ever player to dunk in a South Carolina uniform. She done it her freshman year. And she got caught. The kidnapping charge, I think, was a little hideous because basically she grabbed, and to me, it sounded like, they didn't say, but it sounded like more of a domestic violence. Like it might have been a girl that she might have been seeing or something, but grabbed her by the neck and led her down the hallway. And they called that kidnapping because she forced her to go somewhere where she didn't want to go. So I think the kidnapping charge she could probably get out of. Yeah. But the assault, definitely not. She ended up beating her up. But tough situation for the Gamecocks here, guys.
Yeah, that is, especially fresh off of a national championship and that being a pivotal part of your team.
100%.
That's very unfortunate.
Very tough situation there for the Gamecocks, but you hate to see that, especially when she is part of such a magical run for the South Carolina Lady Gamecocks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then let's see. We got time for one more before we go to break.
Okay.
Now this right here. Joey Chestnut and Takiri Kobayashi renewed the most competitive rivalry in East on Monday's Netflix show Unfinished Beef. It was a special where with Chestnut winning 83-66 over Kobayashi. Now, guys, if you remember back in 2009, they had a huge rivalry in 2008, 2009. Then a contractual dispute meant that Kobayashi was no longer able to compete at Coney Island in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, leaving Joey Chestnut to win the next 16 hot dog eating contest. Guys, interested, or y'all gonna watch this?
I mean, I think it'll be box office.
What about you, Bradley?
Didn't it happen? Didn't they already do it?
Yeah. Are you going to watch it, though?
I mean,
are you going to go back and watch it?
Probably not. I'm going to be honest. Listen, man, I never got into the competitive eating thing. I think it's pretty wild what they can do. But I feel like I have better things to do in my life than watch someone eat 83 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
But it's Kobayashi and Joey Chestnut.
I don't care, man. I've seen them eat before. It's crazy. It's wild. But again,
Who are you more likely to watch eat 83 hot dogs, Joey Chestnut or me?
Darryl, I'd like for you to try to eat 83 hot dogs in 10 minutes. I would watch that.
Well, see, Shane Prater said just tuned in, didn't know if was mentioned, but McGoffin 7th and 8th grade got a win over Lexington Catholic, 38-8, huge win. As the McGoffin County middle school team, we've talked about them, how good that team is with Colton Reisner and crew. This middle school team, I was very surprised that Pikeville handled them the way that they did.
Who was it that they get problems to not too long? Was it Pikeville or was it Belfry that didn't they beat one of the two middle school teams not too long ago?
Who?
McGoffin County.
What about?
Didn't their middle school team compete against Pikeville or Belfry not too long ago?
They played against Pikeville, and Pikeville blew them out.
Oh, I thought it was I couldn't remember.
No, 38-0. Yeah. And but I don't know what happened in that game. Very surprised that the outcome was the way it was. But this middle school team, they got more stars on it than probably any team in the mountains. And this is a middle school team that's got a chance to win a state title.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they're that good. So getting a win like that over Lexington Catholic, then
that's a big school.
Yeah, definitely a big notch in their cap. Now, just got word that Coach Cummings is still at the hospital, so Coach Cummings, I'd say, will not be able to join us today. So if he does, it'll be a little bit later in the show. Do send our prayers out to him. He told me he had to go to the hospital, but thought he'd be out by now. So we will not have him. But when we come back, we'll go over more topics. And guys, definitely a controversial topic coming up, as we're going to talk about the rudest cities in the mountains. So make sure you come back as we'll go over that, and we'll get your folks' opinion on that too. It is an opinionated topic, so make sure you guys come back and join us and let us know what your thoughts are. Go ahead and get them in the comment section coming, who you think the rudest cities in the mountains are. So guys, we'll take a quick break. Be right back here on the Startup Morning Show.
Are now available at Kentucky Mountain Health Alliance Little Flower Dental Clinic. Same day crowns. No more temporary impressions and wearing temporary crowns. Same day crowns. Now available at Little Flower Dental Clinic. We also offer cleanings, fillings, extractions, root canals, and bridges. Call for an appointment today at 487-9505. We accept most major insurances, Medicare and Medicaid, and even a sliding fee scale. Little Flower Clinic, your medical home in the mountains.
Wear a lot of hats. They're coaches, volunteers, church members, neighbors, someone who's there when you need them, especially when you need them most. That may be a lot of hats, but they're all the perfect fit. Kentucky Farm Bureau, big on commitment.
We are back here on the Startup Morning Show. Bradley Dameron, JJ Pruitt, and Darryl McCoy here. This segment brought to you courtesy of Freddie Lewis. Vote for Freddie Lewis this November for Pike County Commissioner. If you want to better Pike County, there's only one way to get that, and that's vote Freddie Lewis.
Absolutely. He's definitely an individual that is mostly concerned about the future.
Yeah.
I think that's all he preaches is, the next generation, he wants them to have it much better than the previous generations.
Yeah, and as we sit here, just right here, Freddie Lewis, he's a member of the Republican Party running District 3 Commissioner seat in Pike County. Some of his major beliefs and stances are God and his son, Jesus Christ, first and foremost. He's pro-life. Strong supporter of the Second Amendment and our Constitution of the USA, veterans and soldiers, economic growth, close the borders, come in the right way or don't come, he says. Focus strongly on the future of our children and youth, job creation for our mountain people, standing up to big government over reach into schools and homes. Government needs to stay out of the people's personal lives, and his motto: small government and big people. So definitely a man that's going to have my vote, and I will do everything I can to make sure that we get him in office, because he is exactly the kind of person we need in Pike County, representing Pike County.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, one thing you mentioned there, and I think there's a lot of things that people miss sometimes. He said, come in the right way or don't come at all. I think sometimes people think if you're against people coming here illegally, you don't want immigrants at all. And that's not the case for me. And I think a lot of people, we want immigrants. This country is built on immigrants, but we want them to be here legally and get here the right way.
That's it. Make sure that you're documented, and, that's the thing, I mean, that people just, I think people don't like, the legal part of it, because, one thing, you're not paying taxes, you're not doing stuff that Americans have to do. And, if there is crime, you commit a crime, then you're not documented. So it's harder to, hold you accountable for them actions, and just a lot of bad stuff comes in with that. So, that's the way I am. I mean, listen, do it the right way. And I don't think anybody would have a problem with as many people wanting to come over here. Come over.
I agree.
So Shane Prater says Pikeville won that game 30-0. Said they're solid all over the field. D-line gave them fits. So, and no surprise with the Coach Brandon coach squad, and listen, Shelby Valley's youth program, I've been very surprised with how good they've been in recent years. They got a lot of good people involved with the youth program. They're pushing up. The other day we didn't mention it, but Brady Johnson for Shelby Valley had a 5-touchdown performance. He had 3 passing and 2 on the ground, Bradley. Be interesting. That's something I'll, that we'll definitely talk about on Crunch Time, top 5 quarterbacks up to this point, in the mountains. And I'm sitting here, I don't know exactly. I've not had enough time to look at all the numbers, but, I would say if you were going to have 5 quarterbacks in the mountains, just off the top of my head, you're probably going to go Landry Collette, Brady Johnson, LeBron Strader out of Ashland, probably Isaac Duty out of Pikeville, and Carter Parsons out of Betsy Lane, maybe. Who else?
Are we doing our whole coverage area or just on the Kentucky side?
No, in our whole coverage area. Devin Maynard had a big game for Martin County, 5 touchdowns the other night.
I think you had thrown Caden Vance in there somewhere.
100%. 100% he's in there. And, that I think, Preston May.
Preston May, yeah.
Which, we'll see who all makes the final cut, on Thursday night's Crunch Time show. But, I just going off the top of my head, those are some of the ones that I would definitely put at the forefront. And then you got AJ Johnson out of Paintsville. He definitely has to be mentioned in that conversation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Max Pelfrey out of Hazard.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's going to be a tough list to narrow down to 5. I don't know how you do it, but, we'll find out.
Good luck.
Yeah, we'll find out how we do it. Yeah, and, we normally always put out a list, the Dirty Dozen, the top 12 quarterbacks in the mountains. So, we may end up bringing that back for Thursday night show on Crunch Time. But, guys, as we're sitting here, this is definitely an opinionated, I seen a list yesterday, the rudest cities in America. And do you know what number 1 is? Can anybody guess?
Boston.
What about you, Bradley?
Louisville.
What?
Louisville.
You talking about in the United States or in
I think, Bradley, are you frozen?
No.
Oh, he moved. Actually, both of them made inside the top 5, but the rudest city in the U.S. is Miami.
I can see that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, rudest city in the U.S. And it got me thinking, if there was a list in the mountains, rudest cities in the mountains, what do you think, in your opinion? I mean, and this is not bashing any town, but what would be the consensus rudest cities? If you had to say the top 5 rudest cities in the mountains, or say top 3. I tell you, I live there, and one that I would probably put there is probably Paintsville. I would, and it's. It starts, like, I mean, when I mean rudest, I mean, it's not necessarily, it can be the people, it can be the government, it could be, it can be anything, whether, it's bad hospital experiences or, any kind of situation, the rudest people, I think Paintsville would be in it for me. And trying to think who would be, let's see. So if I was going to go West Virginia coverage area,
I'm sheltered, so I don't really know the areas that much.
I have one, but I really see that it's hard for me because, like, I have one in my head.
Bradley's just scared to say it.
But I also know and love a lot of people in this town that I'm thinking.
Well, that's the same way. I lived in Paintsville. I love Paintsville.
But I've had some experiences in Williamson, man.
Oh.
I have had some experiences in Williamson over the years, and maybe it's because I worked there for a while and stuff, and maybe I got to see it too much. But
I did not see Bradley throwing shade on Williamson.
Yeah, I love Williamson, and I love a lot of the people there. But I would be lying if I said, I've had some issues and stuff with in some areas there.
I'm gonna go Paintsville, Glen Hayes, which is Tulsa, and trying to think, Logan. I'm gonna go Logan.
Really?
Yeah. I've had and listen, don't get me wrong, I got a lot of close friends in Logan. I love Logan. I love the high school. But if you just went city, as far as an overall experience, I've had a lot of negative instances in Logan, West Virginia. I think a lot of our shade at D&D Sports comes from the Logan area.
Oh, I haven't had any problems. I mean, but
I think a lot of that. If you notice, Darryl, I think like in some cases when I think of my negative experiences, it's more like county seats and areas where I'd have to deal with like government buildings and stuff more.
Yeah,
because that's where a lot of mine have been, or hospitals and stuff.
I agree. That's Logan. Like I said, a lot of it is, what I'm saying is government. A lot of it is hospitals. Paintsville has a big part of the Paintsville situation is the hospital there. So those would be probably the 3 of the most negative towns. Trying to think.
I still love you, Williamson, by the way.
Yeah. I absolutely. I love all these cities. I got, very close connections to all of them. But, if I was just going to go, if you was going to rank the rudest, and I tell you one that is definitely doesn't get the credit that they deserve as far as rudeness is Elkhorn City.
They don't get the credit they
Really?
deserve.
No. Elkhorn City. I've met a lot of rude people from Elkhorn City.
Yeah,
I've never had really bad experiences over at Elkhorn, man.
Yeah, I've had some pretty bad experiences, and I guess if you was going to say the friendliest cities in the mountains, where would you start?
I mean, I haven't had any bad experiences everywhere that I've ever been. Everybody's been kind to me. I mean,
what about the lady that spit in your hot tooed your head? Was that kind?
I mean, she did.
I'm surprised Kermit didn't make JJ's list after that.
It's true.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. If someone spits on me, they're probably raising their city up a little bit on that.
She was 80. I mean, that was the thing they did back in the day. I don't know.
I don't think that's a thing they did.
I mean, maybe she did, but I've never heard. I mean, gosh, I see Whitey Little in there. He mentioned Pikeville, and
listen, a lot of people. I think if we done this poll, and we will put this poll out there, we'll put this poll out there, and
I think this is just going to cause people to fight, Darryl.
I think it will too, but we'll find out how bad they fight. That kind of tells who the rudest is. I think we'll be able to determine by the poll, who the rudest are.
We'll see what insults they throw back, which insults are the rudest.
I like Knott County as far as friendly goes. I think they were, when we covered that volleyball game.
Yeah,
they were really kind.
Knott County?
Yeah.
All right. JJ says Knott County, so he's going with Hyman as friendliest cities.
Yeah. I'll say this, and this is just
Now, wait. Whitey, I'm taking, because I just brought up friendly, so I'm saying Pikeville, you're probably saying it's the rudest, right? And a lot of it is the perception. You got to think, growing up, a lot of the perception with Pikeville and Paintsville is, they're a little snobby, little Rudy Tooty. But I've met a lot of good people from Pikeville. Like I said, it has nothing to do as much with the Paintsville. Paintsville, I lived there for a while, so I got to see the worst and the best of it.
Yeah.
I got to go Belfry too. They were always good to me whenever I transferred there. I mean, the teachers, the individuals, I mean, everybody was kind.
I'll tell you one, and I'm going to exclude where I live right now because that just seems obvious, right? You're always going to love where you're from and all that. But Del Barton.
Del Barton is the friendliest.
They got some, yes. Del Barton's a really good place too.
Del Barton is one of the nicest places, and like when Birch High School was around.
Mm-hmm.
Mike and Bill Smith over there when they were the basketball coaches, the boys and girls coaches, fantastic people, always treated me super well. Never had a bad experience in Del Barton ever. One
time. I would say one of the friendliest. And it's going to, and I know people are going to say cop out, but listen, Belfry. At the end of the day, if you walk in and it could just be I'm from there, so I do know. So I mean I get it. It might be a cop out, but if you walk in a gas station, everybody knows your name. They're holding doors open for you. I think Belfry and unlike Bradley, I think Williamson is pretty friendly.
I still think Williamson is friendly.
Don't change it now, Bradley.
I'm just saying, man. If you're making me choose, where have I had some of my worst experiences?
And let's see. I guess other friendliest. Man, there's Whitesburg is pretty friendly. I when we go to lecture, people, they open their doors for us, and Jenkins has to be on the list as friendliest cities in the mountains.
Louise has always been good to me too.
Now, Louisa,
I'm not saying it's been good to everyone, but I've always had good times in Louisa.
I've had some good times and I've had some bad times. They would be more likely to make the rudest list than they would the friendliest for me.
Perception's so weird, man.
Yeah, it's all the dealings that that you have to deal with, and and with us, like here at D&D, a lot of it is, I guess the reason me and Bradley see things different is because we work on different sides of the river for the most part. Like Bradley works West Virginia, I work Kentucky, and so like the Kentucky people, he's probably getting gripes from the Kentucky people that he's not, doing this or that. And then I'm getting to West Virginia, I don't do enough for, this or that. So, that would, and if anybody else, let me know. Whitey Little says Pikeville is a friend list. I would dare to say that, like, I don't know. I like Pikeville. Pikeville does got some friendly people, but
I never had issues. I used to live in Pikeville for a little while.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of friendly people in Pikeville, and I've seen a lot of rude people. So I don't know. I think Pikeville, is even killed. I think they got some on each side.
Man, the only thing about Pikeville is the Appalachian Wireless Arena, that parking situation is awful. But that's just my own little side rant.
Well, you got the parking garage. You got the one over there. You got Big Sandy parking lot, which is AKA the arena parking. And, Pikeville, they've got to do more stuff, I think. I don't know. I think that, like, before COVID, I think they was really, on a uptick when it come to events that they was doing in Pikeville and, stuff that they was bringing to Pikeville. And then when COVID hit, I think they slowed down. Like, I can't remember the last time that they had drag racing down at the jail. That was something that was really neat that they had. I think COVID cut a lot of stuff like that off that we need to get back in the mountains. I can't wait to see Doug Kirk, what he does with that drag strip, if he actually gets it built, because we've seen a lot of people buy it and promise they put things in there, Bradley, but it never has come to fruition. I hope Doug Kirk is able to get that. Let me ask you this. If there was one thing in the mountains that you guys would like to see come here that you think could change, say, in certain areas, like if there's something you could implement or put in one area that would change that area's fortunes, what would it be?
A casino.
A casino. JJ, you are crazy. A casino would not do good around here.
You don't think so?
No. I don't think you got the people that's got the money around here to.
I'm just.
You like do it because you like playing cards. Is why you say casino.
Yeah, casino.
But I don't. I would not see a casino being good around here. I just don't think that. I think there's too much people on fixed income. I think people would be. I don't know. I just don't think this would be the best place.
Oh, I think it would do well. Actually, I just don't think it would have the positive effect that you'd want it to have. I think we'd end up with more people in financial crisis than we already have around here, is what I think.
Well, I think that's part. I think part of it, but I just, I think, and actually, guys, I highly recommend that people go up to Boyd County there by Malibu Jacks. They put a casino in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The Sandy Casino, really great neat place there that they got. They do a lot of sports gambling and stuff like that there too. Really neat place there in Boyd County, right there by Camp Landing.
If I had to honestly think, what about those outlet stores that are in like Pigeon Forge or in Cincinnati? Like those outlets, like the Nike outlets, the Adidas outlets. Like, how do you think something like that would do?
I could see an outlet maybe doing something because that draws people in when you have like a little outlet mall.
Yeah,
I've seen like outlet malls in the middle of nowhere in Ohio, which is most of Ohio, and
I could see that,
and like an entire area built up around it, and then they put the outlet mall, and then next thing you know, there's Wendy's and there's a McDonald's and then an Applebee's and all that, and it kind of builds up around it. So I could see like a little mountain outlet mall type of deal.
And they wouldn't have to worry about people like not getting business because I mean they're making the stuff affordable. You know, if you had a Nike outlet where the prices were, you know, maybe $15 tops for a t-shirt, I mean, people would buy those left and right, and I mean, you would consistently get people coming in and being able to.
Well, my thing around here, I think one thing that we could do, and I've talked to a lot of politicians and, you know, trying my best to get this done. You know, I think that Pike County needs to be wet. You know, I really think Pike County is hurting themselves by not being a wet county, Bradley. You know, because here's my take on it. No matter where you are at in Pike County, you can drive no more than 10 minutes and you can get alcohol no matter where you're at. You know, if you're, you know, in Shelby Valley, you know, you can drive the Pikeville, you know, you can drive city limits is wet. You know, if you're in Belfry, you can drive to Williamson. You know, if you're in Elkhorn City, drive to Virginia. You know, you can go anywhere you're at in Pike County, and within 10 minutes, you can buy beer. You know, and we are taking, you know, Phelps. You know, you got to cross the state line there in Virginia. You know, I just think like when everybody around you is wet and you're dry, you know, it's costed a lot of businesses to come to Royal Places in Kentucky. You know, one story I know, you know, is right there where the dollar store at in Belfry, where old Motel 119 is. You know, there was talks at one time of an Applebee's going in there. The thing that stopped it was they couldn't sell alcohol. You know, they've got to find a way, you know, to make Pike County wet because it's going to bring a lot of businesses into our area. And I think we're really missing out on that. So that's one of the major changes that I would change.
I completely agree, Darryl. And that's the thing. Like, it's not like they're keeping people from getting anything. I mean, which I'm personally against the government telling people what they can and can't drink anyway. So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, and, you know, if I was going to go to like an industry around here, you know, the one thing that I think that we need more than anything is a major sportsplex. You know, I think if we had a major sportsplex, if we had a gym that had 8 courts in it, that it would bring so much tourism into our area. And, you know, you capitalize it, you know, have a host sports arena like that, you know, have, you know, 3 or 4 baseball fields out around it, you know, to where people can put these tournaments on. Go look at Knoxville. Look how many people, you know, visit, or not Knoxville, Kingsport, you know, little town of Kingsport. Look how many people visit it, you know, because of ball games every single summer, every weekend. It is packed out. The businesses are getting patrons because of these tournaments. You know, the hotels are being used, the gas stations, the restaurants, you know, that if you take, and if you know, somebody built that around here, and it's sad. I hear people say everybody you talk to will come up with that answer, but nobody ever does it. So I don't know what the reason tightening. I know, you're talking millions of dollars that you're going to have to, come up with to make this happen. But if you did, that would be a game changer for our area.
Well, and I tell you, Darryl, I honestly feel like, not just basketball, but build like baseball fields and stuff. You've got like little small minor league or collegiate wooden bat league teams and stuff that could easily use that as well, like during the summer and drawing attendance and more money. I see it all the time. There was a little town in Indiana near where I used to work years ago, and man, they had a nice stadium for such a little town. Now, the reason they had that is because the movie A League of Their Own, you remember that movie?
Yep.
They went into the town and they renovated that stadium. So it still had all the Rockford Peaches stuff up there.
Yeah.
So that was the stadium from that. And I know I covered a lot of games there, but then during the summer, they had like a collegiate wooden bat team in there that would go in, and they're still running. I've checked on it. That team's still running there. And that stadium ended up being a lot of revenue for them. And still a little bit of tourism, because let's face it, there's some people who just want to swing by there and see that stadium, but outside the tourism part of it, and they host a lot of events there at that stadium.
I agree 100%. And guys, we got a lot more to talk about. Come right back and join us as we'll talk about some of the stuff going on around the mountains. Come right back and join us here in just a second on the Startup Morning Show. Award-winning tire shop that focuses on customer service that's family-owned and family-operated. Stop by and see our friends Jeremy and Chasta at Punk's Tires. If you have a hectic work schedule and you're looking for a non-stressful, convenient way to buy tires, take advantage of Punk's Tires Appointment Saturdays. If they don't have the tire you're looking for, they guarantee it to have it the next day. Punk's Tires can take care of all your needs in tires, wheels, wheel alignments, brakes, rotors, minor mechanic work, and more. They'll treat you like family from the second you walk through the door. Come see us in Virgie, Kentucky, or give us a call at 606-639-TIRE. That's 606-639-TIRE. Send me a picture of him.
Taste of Central America? Head to Sal's Steakhouse. Sizzle your senses with mouthwatering steaks, juicy burgers, savory chicken, and fall-off-the-bone ribs. Sal's Steakhouse, where your taste buds will thank you. Unleash the flavor at Sal's. Taste tradition, taste the difference.
Montlaw High School. Continue to follow D&D Sports, best coverage in the mountains.
Back here on the Startup Morning Show, JJ Pruitt, Bradley Dameron, and Darryl McCoy here. Guys, as we get started, this segment is brought to you courtesy of Justin Markham, attorney at law. If you're looking for the outcome you're looking for, the judgment you deserve, call Markham Law Office today. They will fight your battles for you and make sure you walk away smiling, Bradley. Call Justin Markham.
And I would go to Williamson to see Justin Markham, just so you know.
There you go, Bradley. Justin Markham brings Bradley to Williamson, not runs him out. That's how friendly they are there. Oh, yeah. And he's got one of the nicest secretaries you'll ever meet in Sky. Make sure you go see our friend Sky. The guys, tough situation. Let me ask you your thoughts on this, JJ. As Kim Jong-un reportedly orders dozens of officials executed after deadly floods. JJ, tell us a little bit about this story.
So this is a report according to a report from South Korea. North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un may have ordered at least 30 government officials to be executed after the devastating floods over the summer that killed thousands. Now, apparently the story is, the heavy rains in late July left more than 4,000 homes, as well as numerous other public buildings, structures, roads, railways flooded in the northwestern city of Sinjun and the neighborhood of Uji. And apparently the report is that he blames public officials who had neglected disaster prevention for causing the casualties that cannot be allowed. So
Now,
basically, from what I'm getting at this, like they didn't do a proper job of, bringing awareness to the disaster situation, or maybe they didn't take proper precautions. And because of that, he wanted to hold them accountable.
Listen, we all talk about communism and how bad it is and stuff like that. But then again, we're I'm sitting here thinking how good America would be if sometimes we had somebody like Kim Jong-un that held officials accountable. Now, I'm not wishing death on anybody, but
I'm just saying there's holding people accountable, and there's execute. This is the same man who, like, someone didn't show him what he thought was the proper respect, and he had him torn apart by dogs. I don't know if we want to go down the route.
No, we don't want to go that far. But I guarantee your officials would fight for you harder, and they would get things done if they had pressure like that on them. Now, I don't wish that on anybody. Don't get me wrong, but
I would work hard if I thought I was going to get torn apart by dogs.
That's it. You definitely would. And as you sit there and talk about it, in America, like I'm sitting here, just thinking how much stuff goes to the wayside, and like there's no pressure, on it like that. And I don't ever wish that kind of pressure. Listen, we, our soldiers fight for our freedoms, and I'm joking there, but at the end of the day, tough situation. I mean, imagine if your job was to make sure. Well, I mean, listen, you take Martin County Water Department, they would all be dead, for such a situation to be there. So I mean, it just a tough situation. And I'm talking back in the day. They're doing a wonderful job now, but I mean, I'm just using that as an example. Just governments, situations that just the accidents happen. And
I do agree there needs to be more accountability in government.
Yeah, but going as far as that, and I hate it because I was just getting to where I like that little feller off that movie that they had with Seth Rogen and him. What was the movie?
What was it called? The Interview?
Yeah. I was just getting to where, he had all this positive publicity coming out with that movie with Dennis Rodman, him being friends with Dennis Rodman. Yeah. And then he goes and does something like this and totally changes his perception, Bradley.
Hey, it's just the perception that he holds people accountable. I mean, I don't want no smoke with him.
No.
I mean, but, it does make you wonder. These politicians, they follow the exact same formula every couple of years. They come around, knock on your door. They tell you that, you should vote for them. They give you a list of things that they agree with and the list of things that they disagree with, and they'll tell you everything they agree with to get you fired up. And then as soon as you vote for them, they get in there. They don't keep half of their promises. They disappear for a couple of years, and then they come back, and then they try to get you to vote for them again because they know, like, they're not going to have to do anything except tell you what they support to get you to vote for them. They don't have to actually do their job. They just have to tell you that they agree with, your feelings as well.
Agree.
A lot of unfulfilled promises from politicians over the years. We're going to do this.
It's a never-ending cycle.
Well, can I tell y'all a couple of my pet peeves?
I mean, it wouldn't be a show if you didn't.
Okay, listen. Has any of y'all been through South Williamson lately?
Yeah, just there last week.
From Muncie's, so virtually Williamson down to Walmart, they have cones that separate in one lane, but ever since them cones has been up, I've not seen them touch anything on that side of the road. Like, I don't know what they're doing there to have them cones there. And I come one hair the other day. I almost done this. I almost parked my car and moved every one of them cones over to the side of the road. That way that it quits jamming traffic up there when they're not doing anything. And listen, in a situation like that, the only thing that I could think that they might be doing is maybe working on the sidewalk over there. That's the only thing I can think, because I did see that, it looked like newer concrete over on the sidewalk. That might be what they was doing. I could be wrong, but that might be what they was doing. But is that, and on the opposite side of the road, they're doing absolutely nothing, but yet they got one cone blocking traffic. Now, listen, whoever owns that construction company, I would not hire them because, you know, in a situation like that, if you're not doing work right there in that area, or even if it was something with that sidewalk, you know, and not only seeing the sidewalk on two different sides, right there in front of Wendy's and Taco Bell, it looked like fresh, you know, concrete on the sidewalk. And I was like, maybe that's what they're doing right there. Well, first of all, I mean, that is what, maybe 100 yards, you know, of cones, you know, not a mile of cones that's creating this big backup. So, and then at the end of the day, whenever you're done, remove the cones and then put them back out the next day. You know, there's no need for all that stuff and all that mess right there because it's causing a hectic traffic jam every day right there. It takes you twice as long to get through there. I've seen numerous wrecks since them cones have been out. Something's got to be done there.
I've been through there a few times lately, Darryl, and I'm sure they're doing something, but I couldn't tell you what either. I mean,
yeah,
it's
there's nobody ever working there. I never see people working.
I've driven through there probably, I think, 4 times in the last 2 weeks, and
well, usually when they're working, don't you see equipment?
You do. And I haven't seen equipment. I mean, I'm sure there's something.
I don't see anything, and you know they've got, you know, something's got to be done right there. That's ridiculous. And the other thing is, listen, again, you know me, I'm the hugest supporter you'll ever see of local businesses. You know, JJ can tell you that. Yeah. I very rarely will I ever eat at a chain restaurant or visit, you know, a local store over a, you know, privately owned store. But what, you know, when did we come to this spot in America to where stores and restaurants ain't open on Mondays? You know, it's like, well, we're just going to give ourselves a 3-day weekend.
I mean,
yeah, you know, I mean, I've never seen that. Like the other day, me and my son, you know, when he got out of practice, we went to get something to eat on Monday. I'm not kidding. I promise you, we stopped at 7 different places and they was closed on Monday. Restaurants.
I think what we've come to today, Darryl, you know, it's, you know, restaurants have had harder time staffing people.
Yeah.
So they'd rather take Monday off than miss the weekend crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I agree there, but you know, that's like, I don't know. I get the thought process, but listen, if I'm a restaurant, I'm open and I'm going to be Monday special because I know how many people are looking for places to eat on Monday and there's nothing, you know, nothing to eat at. You know, I mean, I did, you know, we went from Lenore all the way to Williamson to Belfry, and just about every single locally owned business that there is was closed. You know, and it was all locally owned, so you're pushed to, you know, spend your money at a chain place. You know, if you want, you know, stop griping at people to spend their money local if you're not going to stay open. You know, just like that's my other thing. You know, restaurants closing at 9 and 10 o'clock on the weekend. You know, weekdays, I still don't like it. I think 11 o'clock's the number, but the weekend, it's ridiculous, people, the amount of restaurants that close at 9 and 10 o'clock on the weekend. You know, that's just my pet peeve of the day.
I think it was a good one. I feel like you really needed to get that out of your system.
No, I did. I got so aggravated the other day. And I was like, you know, something's got to be changed here. You know, we've got to get out of this process. And that's just the lingering effects. We didn't have that junk before COVID.
Absolutely.
You know, COVID, it screwed everything up and it still continues to screw it up. And we need to get past COVID. So we got to figure something out with that.
You know what one of my pet peeves is?
What?
You not counting Lee's Chicken as a local restaurant.
Lee's ain't local.
It's local enough.
That's a chain.
No, it's local enough. Next time we're in the area, we need to go there.
If it's local, I'll tell you this. You tell me I guarantee you, JJ don't know the 2 cities that's got least chicken in it.
Prestonsburg's got like the area. That's before you get to Prestonsburg.
Prestonsburg does not have a lease.
The Shelby, like the place that we Letcher County, or the place that we went to, like a week and a half ago, they had a lease chicken. It was right across from the field.
Shelby Valley does not. You can't even name where it's at.
It doesn't matter. We drove past it 5 or 6 times. We drove past it 5 or 6 times. You said no every time, which is ridiculous.
Well, can I tell you this? I mean,
Yeah.
I can't. It's hard for me to consider it local. Whenever I used to eat Lee's chicken in Corden, Indiana.
Yeah,
it's local enough.
So how is it local?
It's local enough.
So that would be like saying Kentucky Fried Chicken is a local restaurant.
If I got to drive an hour and a half just to get there, I mean, it's local, and it's
how's it local then? If you have to drive an hour and a half, that's exactly opposite of local.
Because there are not that many.
Is that not that? There are not absolutely.
There's
opposite,
there's not that many of them, which means it should be categorized as local.
Local means local to you.
It's franchise. It's local enough.
You just said it's a franchise. So how's it local and franchise?
Now, I will say this though. Sometimes there are locally owned franchises where our local people, and I think that's a little bit different than just like a major franchise, like
Tim Amplin with Arby's.
Or like here in around Kermit, you have Davy Jude, with the
Giovanni's.
It's local enough.
Davy Jude, do you know what sport he excels at, JJ? You've heard this, you know this. I know I've told you this millions of times. What sport is Davy Jude known for?
Basketball.
It's the same one that Cam Roberts is known for. Let's see if we.
I don't even know Cam Roberts.
So are you watching and listening in the show, JJ? We've talked Cam Roberts every day for 2 months.
We didn't talk about him. I mean, yesterday or the other day, did we?
Yeah, we've talked about him twice in the last week.
I'm still trying to get it together. We got 54 schools that we cover. We got all these kids. I mean, I'm working on it.
Golf.
Oh, that was him. Oh,
the Pikeville golfer that wins every tournament.
That's his name?
Cam Roberts.
My bad.
Yeah,
sorry, Cam.
Davey Jude is the only state champion golfer out of Tug Valley.
I need golf lessons. I'm about to get.
Davey golfed professionally, and he's been the last 2 years. He has been named the West Virginia Golf Association Player of the Year as well.
Yep. It's a big shout out there, as Davy Jude, one of the best. So big shout out to him. And as we get here, guys, check out this Philadelphia Eagles suing the ad agency that went and spray painted that they're cheering for Kamala Harris, and they are not rooting for Kamala Harris, as Philadelphia was one of the rudest cities as well. But they're going after the Kamala Harris campaign as their ad agency took and painted these on bus stops in Philadelphia.
Jesus. Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't just use sports teams' logos.
A multi-billion-dollar franchise. I mean, that's you can't do that.
I mean, they would if they had her wearing a Walmart vest. I'm sure Walmart would go after her too.
Well, that's what's next. Kamala Harris they're going to spray paint pictures on billboards of Kamala Harris in a Walmart vest.
Yeah, man, or maybe Target. It depends on where they are.
Yeah,
Walmart, like Circuit City going out of business.
Tough situation there, as that's something. We seen Trump get in trouble with it. Just 2 months ago with Taylor Swift.
Just stay away from copyrighted stuff. It's pretty easy.
Yeah. And unless somebody officially comes out and endorses you, then it's probably best to just stay away from it.
And no sports team is ever going to endorse any candidate, and you know why? Because they don't want to tick off half their fan base.
That's true. And right now, the Well, it'd be like, I mean, we're lucky. We got fine folks like me, Beef Jerky, Double Quick that endorse D&D Sports Network.
Absolutely.
But, you've got to get permission and you've got to work with them folks before you can make stuff like that happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you do.
So let's see. Blind draw. Let's see what we got here, guys. Stephen A. Smith claims Cheryl Swoops was removed from the broadcast due to personal feelings toward Caitlin Clark, JJ.
Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting. I mean, there's been a lot of WNBA players that were former athletes that have had a lot of negative things to say about her. And, if anything, you should be happy that the league is finally growing. I mean, I get it. If you played 20 years ago, the amount of exposure that you got was nowhere near what, these athletes are getting today. I get it. You were probably a much better basketball player, but she's box office. And, she's putting butts in seats. And, all you got to do is look at the statistics of how many people showed up for games last year versus how many people are showing up today. And you can see that there's, a major difference. And, that shouldn't stop you from wanting to, cover these athletes. I mean, stop being bitter and just do your job and continue and do your job as an analyst and help grow the league. I mean, she's doing her job as a player. You do your job as an analyst.
Yeah, Cheryl Swoop. Go ahead, Bradley.
Well, sorry, guys. I also watched her interview with I watched Stephen A. Smith's interview yesterday with Nancy Lieberman. I think a lot of us know who she is. Women's basketball legend, analyst, and great basketball mind.
She's a good coach too.
Great coach, and she almost all but confirmed that that's what happened, and she also was basically saying that Cheryl Swoops no longer talks to her because she asked Cheryl Swoops, like, it's okay if you don't like someone's game or whatever, but you've got to have the right information, because Cheryl Swoops was just saying falsehoods.
Yeah, she said she took 40 shots a game.
In 5 years, she said at one point she said she was 25 years old.
Yeah.
Like not even getting.
Said she took 40 shots a game to get that record, the scoring record in college, when she legitimately took 22 shots a game. So.
Yeah, well, and Nancy Lieberman said, and by the way, it's a great interview. You can find it on YouTube. It's like 10 minutes, and it's worth every minute of it. If nothing else, just Nancy Lieberman's a great basketball mind. To listen to her talk is always great. But the thing is, she said, is you don't have to like someone's game, but you've got to have your information right if you're going to criticize someone. You can't just make up these things. And it was basically like Cheryl Swoops has just doesn't want to hear that. And let's not forget, Cheryl Swoops also was let go of her coaching position at Loyola for bullying players. So she doesn't have the greatest history going on here.
No, absolutely not. Tough situation there. But guys, moving on. The Hazard Bulldogs soccer team gets a big 6-0 win over Letcher Central. 7 different dogs either scored or assisted a goal in the victory over the Cougars. The Dogs will be back in action Thursday on the road against Wolfe County in the All-A Regional Semifinals. So big win for our friends there in Hazard with the big win over Letcher Central 6-0. The Hazard soccer team doing great things right now, as we got a really good friend and media colleague, Carl Collier, former WILT. Carl Collier is the head coach of the Hazard Bulldogs soccer team.
Yeah, and send me stats and stuff, and I'll write something up.
There you go. Make sure you get them out to us so we can get that done, guys. But, tough situation there. Now, let's see. We'll do one more blind draw here. Let's see what we got, guys. Let's see. Yeah, we've already done that. Let's see. Top 10 student sections in college. Let's see. This college basketball.
It looks like
it has to be basketball with those. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Duke, Purdue, Kansas, Michigan State, Gonzaga, UConn, Auburn, San Diego State, Rutgers, and Providence. Now, this is top 10 student sections, not fan bases. Fan bases, I think, would be a lot different, but student sections, I would agree. Duke has the best. I'll agree with that. I'll give it to them. Now,
it's hard. It's hard to go against that, honestly.
Yeah. Now, the ones that surprised me is Purdue. I did not see them being on there. And let's see.
Rutgers down there, man.
Rutgers and Providence. I didn't see them being on it either.
Providence, I know, has always been pretty rabid there.
Yeah.
Rutgers really surprised me. San Diego State kind of surprises me a bit. I mean, now I'll be honest with you. I've been to games at Rep Arena, and I've always thought the student section there could be a little better as well. But, you know, I really, there's no reason UK shouldn't be up there somewhere. But the students need to get a little bit more into it, man.
I agree. And, obviously, Kentucky, if you was talking fan base, Kentucky is probably the number one fan base in college basketball. But their student section leaves a lot to be, I guess, you could definitely get a lot better in the student section. They don't, that's one thing that they're not great at. The football atmosphere in Kentucky is a lot better than the basketball. And, same way with WVU. Football is outstanding, basketball not as much. So as we sit here and look at that, we just had we'll have JJ. The studio lights just went out.
Yeah, we just got a power outage.
Yeah,
I think it's a full power outage, or we wouldn't be on.
Yeah, let's see if we can get that.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but
check your laptop charger.
Yeah, there we go. We're back on. Yeah,
the world is some paranormal activity going on.
So somebody's trying to kick us off air, Bradley.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear the truth there. No.
Yeah, that's it, Bradley. I guarantee you that's the big government in Williamson trying to shut you up. They've had enough of your bashing.
Williamson Courthouse. Oh gosh. Oh.
Yeah, they've had enough of your bashing, Bradley.
I had in the very same office, one of the nicest people in the world help me out. And then hand me off to one of the absolutely rudest human beings I've ever spoken to in my entire life. It's amazing. Like, one person was like, "Oh yeah, honey," all that. Next person, she just acted like she was just mad to be there that day.
Well, I will say this: I've met one of the rudest people I've ever met. Works in Williamson, West Virginia, and I'm not going to mention any names, but one of the rudest people I've ever met, and I don't want to say a ton because there's they may have control of something that could affect our jobs, but I definitely one of the rudest people I've ever met is their office is located in Williamson. So I'm sure hopefully a lot of people don't dig into that and figure out who that is, but their job directly affects what we do here at D&D. So as we sit here, guys, big shout out to Caitlin Keithley. Yeah. For you folks that don't know Caitlin, guys, Caitlin is Coach Keithley, who works here at D&D Sports Network. She has taken a coaching position at Cameron University in the Lone Star Conference. As Caitlin, she ended up going playing Division I ball at Moorhead. Played for Pike Central, Pikeville, and Prestonsburg in high school, Bradley. And, She was first team all county, first team all mountain. Also a big track star. She's widely known as the best ever cross country athlete to come out of the 15th region.
Yeah, and it's exciting for her. Lone Star Conference is actually one of the better Division II athletic conferences in the country. I know a lot of people don't know a lot about the Division II level, but the Lone Star Conference is top notch in that division.
Yep. Tough situation. Congrats to Caitlin Keithley. As guys, want to move on here. Don't forget tomorrow, crunch time show. You definitely want to stick around for that one. It's going to be a great show tomorrow night as we will release the top 10 rankings. You want to see who the top 10 teams in the mountains is. Guys, I seen a top 10 ranking yesterday that sometimes it blows my mind that certain media companies would put out a top 10 about sports that they obviously don't know nothing about. I'm not bashing this, but I'm just saying, like, it would be like, me putting a top 10 soccer out. Like, I don't know anything about soccer, but this media company put one out and definitely left out some very notable teams. And, it's just, all it does is it ends up creating people bashing that media company whenever the media company does a lot of good stuff. You hate to see it, but we will release our top 10, and it's always, listen, people's always going to argue. That's what that stuff is. It's talking points. That's why you put stuff like that out. But we'll also primetime performers, player of the week, we mentioned earlier. We talk all kinds of stuff on the crunch time. We'll get you football ready. It's all football on the crunch time, and you guys can join myself, Coach Jones. Don't know yet if we're going to bring JJ up to the big show or not, but, he's
got a little bit of work to do.
If he brings if he leaves the windbreaker at home, we may be able to
What's wrong with the windbreaker?
Fit him in there.
I found matching pants at the outlet store. I might get them and have the full-fledged, the windbreaker. No.
He looks like a 1980s pimp with a windbreaker, or a 1980s grandma with the windbreaker in the hair.
You need the cane now, JJ.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna get it together.
Yeah, get your pimp hand strong.
I'm getting Darryl a windbreaker for Christmas.
Nah, not a chance. But guys, we're going to jump off. I want to thank you guys for joining us here. Has been another great day. You guys are awesome. We do apologize for not coming on yesterday. Again, JJ broke the water line, so
always throw me under the bus.
We had to get that fixed. But guys, we appreciate y'all for joining us. We want to thank our sponsors, Freddie Lewis, Pike County Commissioner, Punk's Tires, Justin Markham, Attorney at Law, and Jim Marr Services for sponsoring today's show. And guys, come right back and join us tomorrow. Make sure start giving us calls, questions, and there goes the lights again. So I guess that's telling us we need to get out of here. Guys, thank you for tuning in here on the D&D Sports Network. We will take and holler at you in the morning at 8 a.m. bright and early. Bradley Dameron, JJ Pruitt, and Darryl McCoy. Till then, so long.